Hello and welcome back to my channel. As always, I'm Mike. I'm your host, and today I'm going to be making some cabs with these with my new templates from Timberway Designs. If you don't know who Timberway Designs are or is, it's a gentleman named Tim. He has a YouTube channel that is Timberway Designs, where he does cab cutting and things of that nature. He does some rock cutting and a lot of lapidary things like that. He also has an Etsy store. But today I want to use some of the stencils that I've gotten from him, and we'll make a few cabs. And so what I have here first is this piece of Larimar. Now most of it is that volcanic rhyolite. So what I want is, I want to do a cab out of this part here, because this is the part that's going to be a little more solid. This dark spot here, yeah, it looks like a hole, but it's actually solid. So what I want to do is, let me zoom you in a little bit so you can see what I'm going to be doing here. Excuse the shakiness for a minute. Here we go. Now what I want to do, I want to use just this part here because that's going to be the most solid. The rest of it will probably end up going and being it'll be for tumbling. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to take my fine tip Sharpie, and I want to use one of these. I like this kind of ovalized rectangle. And I'm going to put that, I'm going to get some of that rhyolite. The rhyolite doesn't seem to polish as well, but hopefully I can grind the back down, and we'll see how this goes. But now there's the shape I want. I caught most of it. There's still some of that rhyolite in there, but that's okay. Hopefully this will be, there will be more of it hopefully there's more of that blue as we go in. Now this is a piece of lace agate, and that is from Hawks Bluff in Blackwell, Missouri. And so I'm going to use the, let's go 1.5 inches on this. We want to catch those bands, and I think this, actually what I want to do, well, we'll do that with a different one. Let's just, for now, let's try to catch some of these. I'm going to stay away from that vug. Now I do have to be careful because up here toward the top of this cab, right up here, you can see that's crystal structure. Now if I can get it, this hematite will polish really nice. But there's our first one from that. Now then, let's use this this one, and let's put that one over here on this side. There is a fracture that runs up right through here. So we're going to put this up here, and we're going to try to catch a little bit of, I want to try to get a little bit of everything in this one. So let's do, it's going to be right on that fracture, but I may not be able to get much of that hematite, but that's okay. The hematite's not really the star of the show. It's really that agate and being able to catch some of that crystal cluster in there. Okay, there's that one. And we need one more, so I'm going to use this one, which is a little bit more of a triangular. Let's see if we can, if I go, this. Okay, so now we've got one of each shape. So give me a second, we'll be right back, and we will cut these out on the saw and then take them down and get them on the cabbing machine for a polish. Alright, here we are at the saw, so let's start cutting. I'm going to start with the Larimar. Well, that's kind of a good sign. There's a lot more Larimar than rhyolite in that piece. I'll have to make it a little thinner too. Well, that's not what I wanted to happen. So we'll have to find another piece to... Unfortunately, Larimar is not exactly easy to get good pieces because it does tend to be fractured. Let me get this saw cleaned up and I'll be back and I'll try a different stone. Okay, saw's unjammed. Now I've got a piece of, I believe this is tiger iron. It was in with some tiger eye, so I was a little surprised when I got this out of the bin and cut it. So I really don't know how this will polish. I've never really worked with tiger iron, but it does have some of the neat stripes. It's not as stripy as some other examples I've seen, so we'll see. Let's cut it out and see what we've got. Well, that's not a good way to start. Well, that's no bueno either. Well, those pieces can go in the tumbler. Let's get out of what we can on this. I know this will cut because I've used it before, and so this will be fine. Other than that, there's a fracture that runs right here, but I think we'll be okay. Okay, the back kind of crumbled on me a little bit because that is kind of crumbly in there, but if I make this the back, I can, the cabochon girdle will be right down here kind of below some of that, so I should be able to dome that off. Okay, I was a little afraid of this part because it looks like that might be more fractured up than I thought. But I think we can still, as long as it holds together, we can still make a good cab from it. There we go. And the grinder will take the rest of that, take care of the rest of it, and we'll see what we can get out of that. Alright, one last one. I might still be able to get a cab out of that one, so as long as I stay out of the barite up here, because that barite does not polish very well. It doesn't polish well. It is extremely soft, so it's a little harder to polish. But I might be able to get one more cab out of that. Alright, let me go cut one more cab out of this, and then we'll start the polishing process. Alright, one more time. Okay, here we go. Now the downside of this trim saw is that the blade's kind of enclosed, and so when some of those little chips and little pieces get down in there, they spin against the blade, and kind of get spun around pretty good in there, but we can grind that down pretty easily. So now we've got our 4 cabs, one from each of the templates, and so now we'll head down to the basement and we'll get them ready to cab. All right, now let's establish our girdle lines. So we're going to take our fine point Sharpie. That one still may need to dry a little bit. That one still looks a little wet. Let's start with the first one and try to keep my hand out of the way as much as I can. Just kind of set your line whatever thickness you like your cabs to be. I like my cabs a little on the thick side because I mostly wire wrap. So I want my girdle line to be, about 3 millimeter generally, roughly. That may be closer to 2, but that gives me a good straight line to work toward. So let's take this one. That one actually looks like it's dry already, so we're going to do the same thing. Just, I'm sorry, I'm trying to get this into the view so you can see what I'm doing. But I'm bringing my marker up to however I decide what the height is I want. I think I'm going to just lay it flat on the table, and then I'm just going to I'm not going to move the pin, I'm going to move my cabochon around it. And that has established that's about a 3 millimeter thick girdle line. So now we'll take this one, do the same thing, rinse and repeat. Same technique, just different stones a lot of times. I'm going to see if I can't get that dried off just a little bit better. Now I've got a little bit of crumbly stuff here at the top, so I may have to try to grind down into that a little bit more to get rid of as much of it as I can, and I may lose some of that little bit of a crystal cap. You can kind of see there's, you've got well, maybe not if it'll focus, and if my lighting were a little bit better. But you can kind of see that crystal structure in there, and then the hematite that has formed under it, but it looks like it's a little decayed. But we'll see if we can't fix that. But first, get those sides dried off as best I can, and then go along here and girdle line established. So now we're back over to the cabbing machine. Alright, so now back to the 80 grit wheel, and we're going to cut at about a 45-degree angle down to that girdle line. And make sure I'm not cutting into it. And it's looking pretty good, just a little bit more. And that looks, now you can kind of see that, and that's pretty good. I like that. So now we're going to do the other side. Okay, now to get this top part. This is where things are going to get a little tricky because I've got to get that down to the right, or to that 45-degree angle down to that line, hopefully without it blowing apart. Yeah, I'm going to have to grind that in just a little bit. You can see how that hematite leaves a trail of that red because the hematite is really soft. Even though it looks metallic, it's still very, very soft. Okay, that's not bad there. And that'll still leave me a little bit of that hematite to polish up. So now I'm going to go over here to the 220 wheel, and we're going to go in at another 45-degree angle on this top corner here, and back here on this curve, and that'll bring that curve in more to the center, and then I'll start doing the dome. Okay, that's not too bad. It's pretty high up here, so now we're just going to grind it down. You just want to be careful that you don't come over here and get into that girdle line, and you want to try to keep that as straight as possible. And you don't want to grind any flat spots or grind it down real thin on one side, and then you just start chasing the flat spots, trying to get it back to being rounded. The trick here is to just work slow. Now see, I've ground it a little bit down into that line. It's okay, I'm still fairly close, but I want to try to avoid doing that. That tip broke off a little bit, so I'm going to have to fix that. Okay, now I've still got a pretty good little hole up there, but I don't want to grind down into that too much, just because I don't want it to, I don't want to get it ground too thin. I'll work on it just a little bit more here. But you can see how easy that hematite comes off. Okay, that's not as bad. So now let's go over here to the 280 grit wheel, and this is where we start refining it. And now you can really see that hematite starting to shine already. Alright, let's move over here to the 600, 1200, and 3000. Alright, let's start on the 600. Okay, now the 1200. And here we go on the 3000. Alright, so I'm going to take these three, I'm going to run through all 6 wheels, and I will show you the results. As soon as they're done, I'll take them back upstairs and we'll look at them under some better lighting, and I'll show you what they look like. Okay, I'm back and we've got the stones all polished. They look fantastic. Let's take a look at it a little closer here. There we go. Looks really good. I love the Hawks Bluff agate. This particular one I've done quite a few stones with, and it's just incredible. Beautiful stuff. And this one I love that hematite here at the top. The only problem is that there was a lot of pitting around some of that hematite, partly where, and this one, the hole goes all the way through, so you could put a pinch bail on that, and you wouldn't have to drill a hole in it at all. Anyway, that agate is just beautiful, and I like putting some of the hematite in with it if I can when they have that, just because it's it's part of the stone, and just beautiful. But the colors and everything that are in this one I think captures everything the best. You can see the yellows and the some of that red, that iron staining that's in the crystal structure there at the top. Let's see if I can zoom in a little bit for you here. I mean, you can see the crystal structure forming there at the top, and then you get down where the yellow is, and there is a fracture, but it doesn't go all the way through. But it's just beautiful stone. There we go. And there's the hematite there on the top. You get into that crystal structure there, and then the colorful agate, especially down here at the bottom. You get into those really tight lines. So, but there they are, all polished up. And if you've watched this far, I thank you for watching. And all I ask is that you like, subscribe, comment, share which one's your favorite. Check out some of my other videos on my channel, and I will put a link to Timberway Designs Etsy page so you can check out some of the cabs and jewelry and things that, and his templates. I strongly recommend those templates. They're a good quality and very, very sturdy. So yeah, check out his Etsy. Yeah, check out his Etsy page, and check out his YouTube channel, and I will see you in the next video. Thanks for watching. Bye.